Hey, good morning, Patriots. Good to see you. You see me, I see you. Everything is good. Welcome to Wake Up Patriots, where you see the world through the eyes of reality. To quote Kamala Harris, reality is something that we must embrace by the fact that if we don't embrace reality, reality will surely embrace us. Right, Chris? You're embracing reality this morning, aren't you?
That's right, I am, and stop calling me Shirley.
Good morning.
Unless you're Laverne. If you change your name to Laverne, I can change it to
No,
Shirley.
I know. Are you? I don't even want to talk about Squiggy. You
The
know,
I like Squiggy.
was
I'm the
Puff
Squig.
Daddy? Puff Daddy, is he the back black version of Squiggy? I don't know. I'm asking
No,
because I don't know these things.
Squiggy's cool. I gotta tell you, he's a talented man. And in fact, I had a high school band. I had a couple of them in high school, but one of them was inspired by Lenny and the Squigtones. We were called Chris and the Rich Tones.
Really?
Yes.
Did you have rich tones?
No, we stank,
Well,
but we did okay. We
well,
had, we
good.
actually we actually had a song played on a local radio station called, and they did the
Yeah.
little thing they called a record crusher. So the people would vote on the record to see if they would either keep the record and keep it in the playlist. And local bands had this opportunity at times, or crush it and get rid of it, like they did with a lot of other new music. So we were voted to be crushed about, was it 37-18? It was pretty bad. It was brutal.
Well, again, you guys were no Puff Daddies. Just saying. So.
Well, or is it what was his name? P Diddy, Puff Daddy, and something else or whatever.
I know my girlfriend was getting on me last night. Well, you keep saying Puff Daddy. It's like, yes, it's because I
That was
get
his
a
name before?
response out of people. It's like it's
It
funny. It's like,
counts.
no, it's Diddy.
No,
Okay,
it was Puff Daddy before Diddy.
whatever it is.
One of his fellow rappers got shot, and he changed it to P Diddy because that's what the guy called him. So he changed it to P Diddy, but it
Well,
was Puff
supposedly
Daddy
he was
before
like
that, and
sleeping with
Puffy.
Tupac too. Maybe that's why he shot Tupac. Do you think it's true? I don't know. I mean, I'm not in the gangster wars. I'm just like a newbie here.
A lot of people think Suge Knight had to do with a lot of those shootings, and the Death Row Records thing and all of that.
Suge Knight, wasn't he like a big fat guy or something?
Yeah, but nobody messed with him.
Well, nobody messed with John Candy either. But look where he ended up.
That's a good point. But I mean, hey, what was it? Was he in The Wrong Guy? I know he was in Wagons East. That was a great movie, by the way.
I like John Candy. He was
Yeah,
good. He
John
was in
Candy's good.
Stripes. He was in Stripes, which was
Yeah, The Stripes was a great movie. That was fantastic.
yeah.
Of course,
So, anyway, I'm seeing everybody showing up. Good morning, Patriots. I'm wearing. I saw Sea of Mud yesterday. I forgot to mention I saw you, and I'm wearing one of your shirts again today. So there you go. Want to make sure everybody sees. Pick up one of these great Sea of Mud uh, t-shirts. Oceans. Right, right, Chris.
like
You should get that.
the Sea of Mud, not to be confused with Sea of Love by the Honey Tripper, or the cover by
That's
the
right.
Honey Trippers, of course.
That's
But
right.
I like that shirt. Fight, fight, fight. That's exactly true. And
That's right. So we'll be talking about the assassination attempt today, right, Chris?
which one? 1, 2, or 3?
Yeah. Well, I guess we will go into all three. So that'll be interesting because there's a specific threat issued by the DNI, Avril Haines, who also, I guess she sold underwear before she became the director of intelligence, but I'm not here to criticize. And she's apparently issuing a direct warning that a foreign power is trying to assassinate President Trump. I think it's the Iranians, as a matter of fact.
Where wouldn't it be the Iranians at this point? Do you remember before there was a discussion about Iranian hit squads, or
Yeah,
Iran putting out some hitmen to
yeah.
come after Trump? Well, it's come to fruition, and let's juxtapose this, because there, as you know, Time Magazine of all places was exposed this other attempt, and I'll say it's the first one on record, because this was July 12th. This guy Marchant, Asif Marchant, got picked up. The idea is, it was known back then that the Iranians, or at least there was a bounty on Donald Trump, or they were sending somebody out to scope him, kind of case the joints, if you will, and try to find a way to distract and murder. Why we now hear that it took a very long time for the Secret Service to even think about stepping up security for Donald Trump, and this while Kennedy wasn't getting any Secret Service protection.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me wonder a lot. And you're a national security expert, Tony. I want to get your
Last time
point
I
of view
checked,
on
that's true.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, think about this, though. What's your point of view on all of this? Because I mean, what's your take, Tony, on all of this?
Well, I mean, look, do you have you're going to bring up the article?
I always bring up
Uh,
the article,
Bring
and
up the
I will do
article.
that.
we'll talk about because yeah. So by the way, I don't know if you all noticed I was on with Dr. Drew last night. We talked about some of this stuff.
Got to check that out.
Dr. Drew Pinsky, good guy. I enjoyed our time. It was a good show. Anyway, check him out. Check us out. Anyway, we talked about some of the issues relating to what's going on and why does the deep state, permanent bureaucratic state, whatever you want to call it, the federal leviathan, why do they hate Donald? Well, they hate Donald Trump because he's gonna come in and he's gonna fire people and replace things that aren't working. And the federal, it's like a teen, the federal bureaucracy is like a 15-year-old with a bad attitude and a thirst for Doritos and Inca Cola. They just don't want to do anything. They want to lay on the couch all day. Yeah, they don't want to actually do anything to be useful. They're used to being, they're used to getting away with everything, and they're striking out. And by the way, I think the fact that they've done it so badly indicates how incompetent they've become. And the article that we're talking about now, I was going to ask you to put up the other article, the one about the drone issue. But
Oh,
the drone,
I have that one too. As a matter of fact, that's another big one. This
put
is
that one up. Yeah, because I want to
the
talk about that because this is good. This is good. But yeah, I didn't. We didn't mention that. But put up the one with about the drones. Like, well, we called an 800 number and it didn't tell us what to do. Like,
yeah,
okay,
that
that's a
was
good solution.
yeah, that was a problem there too. We have that one up. I have that one from the Daily Mail. Apparently,
Yeah, Daily
a
Mail.
Secret Service agent made a call to discuss, and they actually asked for more drone protection. And they had some kid or I guess some kid or somebody who had 3 months experience on the job handling this.
Yeah, it's insane.
Well, this is what
So,
happens when you have a leader guarding Doritos beforehand and gets in because she's an FOJ, friend of Jill.
well, I think she had that yellow stuff from the Cheetos on her fingers, and she couldn't quite, anytime she tried to type things up, it all got yellow. It's like, oh. Anyway, but no, well, that's what happens when you have DEI hires. I mean, let's face it, Cheetle, which is very close to Cheetos. I don't know if that's an accent
Cheeto.
or not, but Cheeto. I don't know.
Cheeto.
It's close. It's close. Anyway, you get Cheetil as a DEI hire, someone that was someone who dental proctologist Dr. Joe Biden really liked. That's a clue for you. Anybody who's liked by Dr. Joe Biden, I don't think I'd want to be friends with him. How about you, Chris? Do you think you'd want to be like, oh, she comes recommended by Dr. Biden? Really?
Well, think about this. Think about this.
Okay.
You're the supposed leader of the free world, and you're making hiring decisions based on what your wife tells you to do. Think about that.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you don't have to call her Dr. Biden, Dr. Jill Biden. She has an EDD. It's not like a real doctor. It's an education doctor. And considering education in the state it's
Like
in
I said, she's
today,
a doctor.
you
She's
probably
a doctor of dental. She's a doctor of dental proctology. Like I said.
well, there you go. Maybe she changed it. There we go. I like that.
No. She gets to get things coming and going. Dental proctology.
But think about this. Just because your wife says, "Hey, I know some friend of mine who might be able to do security for you, so let's make her head of Secret
I,
Service."
I
This
know a
isn't
kid that knows how to fly drones. Let's hire him.
yeah, this isn't like oh, we need somebody to push some papers and hire my friend as your executive assistant. That's fine. We get that. You're going to have that in these kinds of environments.
Yeah.
But come on, a friend of mine just hire that person as head of Secret Service? No.
No. Well, the fish, the Japanese have a saying, the fish rots from the head. Man, do we have a rotten head? Just saying.
And they're rolling
And
poly.
it starts at the top and it permeates down. And that's what we saw here. But I think it's more than just incompetence at this point, because there's now, you just showed up there, the third assassination attempt or plan or whatever you want to say. And, you know, the, I mentioned this on Dr. Drew's show last night. It's like when is the last time we've ever heard of two consecutive assassination attempts before the third in less than 6 weeks? When does that ever happen within our political system in 100 years? Well, it hasn't. And
Well,
I
that
think
one
that's the issue at this point is that this is not by accident. The Secret Service is not assigned kids who can barely fly drones. that's a political choice. That choice was made. And I do believe we're going to come to find that they knew about Crooks. They knew about this other guy. What's his name? Ralph. What's his name? Ralph.
Oh,
Right? Right?
there's the Ralph. There's Ruth is his last
Ruth.
name. Then
Ruth.
you have
Ruth.
the other guy, Asif Marchant was the first one.
Yeah. So it's not by accident. These are all happening because the deep state, the administrative state, whatever you want to call it, the state that's been trying to put Trump in jail with all these prosecutions, the Jack Smith, not a boy, not really a prosecution, since he's not really a prosecutor, that a judge in Florida ruled correctly that he's not actually qualified to be a special prosecutor. Anyway, I digress. But I just, people need to understand. I think everybody here understands. Yeah, crooks. And then, by the way, real quick, who has a travel budget, Chris,
Right?
that can fly from Hawaii or from North Carolina to Hawaii, back and forth to where else did he go? He went out to
We went to
Ukraine.
Ukraine, I believe. He's
Ukraine.
been in Ukraine, right?
I mean, he's got a bigger travel budget than Barbara Streisand, and he kind of looks like her too. I don't know if they're related, but
Well, people
something.
who need people, they're pretty lucky, I guess, right?
People who need
Isn't that what
that's
Dick
yes,
Gephardt said once?
people who need people are the luckiest people.
Oh my
Oh yeah,
god.
he's lucky. He's lucky to still be breathing. Well, maybe I don't know. He's gonna maybe he'll be talking about things he's not supposed to, according to people who sent him in to do the dirty. And anyway, so my point being, and I think we can all agree, one way or another, that this is not by accident. So
No, it's not. Not even close to by accident. Think about this
yeah,
though. The first attempt was hidden. There was no news about that until after the third attempt. This bothers me a little bit as well. This bothers me to the point where did somebody not want to say anything because they didn't want to really upgrade enough security for Donald Trump and of course Robert F. Kennedy
well,
Jr. Let's not exclude Kennedy at this point because this
no,
is the same time where Kennedy was not given uh, any protection from the Secret Service. It took that second attempt, the one in Butler, for even
yeah,
him to get anything. So
well,
these are points. Biden thought these two people were dangerous. The Biden administration thought Trump
well,
was dangerous because he could win, and RFK was dangerous because he'd take votes. So why not just kind of make things a little lax around them?
well, exactly. So think about this. They're basically de demolify. I don't know what the term is. Is you're making the team that protects Trump weaker. At the same time, you're putting Tulsi Gabbard on a terrorist watch list. Really? She's
Yeah.
a lieutenant colonel in the Army Reserve and in command of a unit, and by all accounts, patriotic. And I'm pretty sure she and her husband aren't plotting the overthrow of the U.S. government. Just saying. And yet somehow, you're weakening his team. But Tulsi, ooh, she's dangerous. Oh,
Oh, I know.
I
I know.
mean,
It's
come
yeah.
on.
She's apparently again another threat to the Biden administration because anybody who
Yeah.
kind of switches teams a little bit is scary to the far left, and they
Well,
don't want somebody breaking ranks because they know the secrets. That's another issue.
unless you're Puff Daddy or what's his name, because
Poof
you can
duty, right?
switch. You can be ACDC and BCEC and all that stuff, man. Because you can have all those teams apparently as long as you got 1,000 containers of lube. Just saying. So
Poof duty. What was that video
Puff
where
duty.
I think I got that from that video he did something called "Going Nowhere," where they're out in this him and his band are out in this L.A. Beverly Hills neighborhood or something like that. And at the very end, after the song's over, you had what was it? What's his name? The young guy, the young Stiller, Ben Stiller, knocking on the door saying, "Hey, I don't know what. Hey, Mister P Diddy, Poof Duty, whatever you're calling yourself these days." He has a golf ball in his hand. He's, I don't want you shooting golf balls in my yard. It's pretty funny. That's where I got that Poof Duty. He changed his name several times. So you know what? If
Well, I
anybody
didn't
says
change
don't
it
call
enough
him Puff
apparently because they
Daddy,
still grabbed him. Just
well,
saying. I guess I should have been better about that.
we can always call him Puffy. That was another name. Or are we dead naming him? We're going to get kicked off social media for dead naming P Diddy.
Can we? I don't know. I don't know. So hold on a second. I'm checking out something.
Oh,
There he is. I was just sent a cat picture. People send me cats.
Oh, yeah, well, it's because they want you to save them. They want you, the
Right, that's
patriots
right.
here and
Cats,
Donald
the
Trump to
cats,
save the
cat
cats.
rescue.
That's
Hey,
right.
save me from my. I live near Haitians. They're going to eat me.
Oh my god. There's
Come,
another neighborhood. There was another, place that's reporting cats
Obi-Wan, you're
missing
our
too.
only hope.
Yeah. There's a town in Maine reporting cats missing as well now. And again,
Where?
not so there's a town in Maine reporting cats missing. I'll have to dig that
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
But
Okay,
again, a heavy illegal I'm gonna call them illegal because technically the population comes in there, and now cats are missing.
interesting.
Yeah, it
Well,
happens.
I don't believe in coincidence. We just talked about multiple assassination attempts against President Trump. I think cats going missing. There's
Bangor.
probably some sort of a banger. I hardly knew her. What are you talking about?
Yep, it's Bangor, Maine. That's where it's happening.
Yes. Yeah. Well, there you go. Maybe there's been groups who do voodoo like you do moving in there, and they need
That's right.
cats to do it.
Well, I believe
That's
I
a great
have,
segment, by the way. We should use that. And
the voodoo
you
that you
go and
do.
do that voodoo that you do so well. That's a great line. And you know what movie that's from, right?
Yes, actually, it's been referred to a lot on television several times, but think about this,
Yeah.
I can't use the Major League reference, but if you do voodoo, are you a fan of the Hoodoo Gurus?
I
Another
think you're
80s
the
reference.
you're no, you're related to the wall of voodoo, and
Oh,
you're
that's
having you're eating iguana
hey,
or
I asked
barbecued iguana.
I interviewed Stan Ridgway once,
You told me.
and
Yeah,
I
I
a
think that's cool.
I asked him actually how barbecued iguana tastes, and he said it tastes
And
like chicken. Everything tastes like chicken, I guess.
well, I guess you can get anything in Tijuana barbecued, right? Which I don't
Y
know. I've never been to Tijuana, but if you want to go and have iguana, barbecued iguana, I guess you go to Tijuana, right?
I
I
would
guess
like to
that's
try
it.
that.
Must be true. Must
I
be
would
true.
like to try. Hey, if you wish you were in Tijuana having barbecued iguana, I believe that's the case. So yes, we need to do it that way.
Yes. But there's no, I don't know, but he didn't put anything about cats in his song. So I guess Wall of Voodoo didn't worry about barbecue cats back then, which is good. That's good.
No,
That's a good thing.
nobody wanted barbecued cats.
Well, I don't know anybody wanted barbecue iguana, but I guess they do, you know?
Oh no, nobody want. I'll tell you what. We're going to have you over one day, and we'll have to have you come, and we're going to take it. We're going to find. We're going to find a couple iguana, and we're going to barbecue it. Just going to have a nice little
Yeah.
barbecue together. But all the cats, I guarantee, will be safe, and so will the dogs. So nobody has
Well,
anything to worry about, especially the neighbors.
yeah. Well, don't send me your cat pictures. I can't, I'm not Superman. Wait till Donald
But
Trump
I
gets
have
in.
a
He'll have a cat rescue, a global
I do have
cat
a
rescue.
I do have a picture for you, or rather a video. Tony, you I saw that really cool hat that Angie Wong sent you recently. We're gonna have Angie on
Oh
next
yeah.
week to
Yeah.
talk with
It's
us.
right there. Yes.
That's gonna be a lot of fun. And from what it's a wonderful hat. I'm getting one of those too. So as I said, I'm going to wear it when I finally receive this.
Okay.
And
Good.
that's gonna be really cool.
Good.
I think it's snazzing. But I have even better for you. You shouldn't be signing the hats. You should be signing bombs. I believe that
Oh
seems to be the
my.
way to go when you want to kind of get a little extra money for your
I
campaign.
guess
Because
so, man.
Vladimir Zelensky and Josh Shapiro were here signing bombs in this video. And, I mean, imagine this.
Are those stink bombs? I mean,
Uh,
man, they could really stink up a school. Just saying.
I have, and actually have a story about that, but I believe we can save that for another day. My friend the
Well,
Nose and I call that we call it the stink bomb incident. We cleared an entire cafeteria, but again,
that's
different
cool.
story, different day. These two, Zelensky, why Zelensky's in America because the UN's here, the whole UN's here, and he's again begging for support and money. I'm getting tired of
Yes.
this guy just constantly begging for money, and I get why he needs it, but this entire country just sucking up and kowtowing to everything he asks for, and now pandering to this point where we have a governor of a Democrat governor of a state, by the way, who dodged the bullet of being Kamala Harris's vice presidential candidate, signing bombs.
So yeah, and by the way, these are Democrats, right?
Yeah,
These aren't supposed to be pro-war folks, but man,
the,
they're the party of hate, destruction, and war now, aren't they?
well, the neocons seem to support them. Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney, they're way behind the
They've
Democrats these
embraced,
days.
yeah, the neocons and the Democrats have become like a Reese's cup of evil. You know,
Didn't Ronald Reagan said at one point to keep the, Wolfowitzes and Cheneys and the neocons away from power in the Republican Party. He said
yeah,
that,
he did.
and when
Well, that's why they hated him. Yeah.
George H.W. Bush took power, the neocons took over, and now
Oh yeah.
they're in bed with the Democrats. That should tell you something.
Well, I had this talk last night. Again, Dr. Drew and I spoke about this because he asked about the neocons. Well, the Trotskyites, they're actually Irvin, Crystal, Bill Kristol's dad was a Trotskyite, which, a communist. And the reason that they all left the left is because the left was a bunch of peaceniks back in the old days. The old hippies. Remember the old hippies and Woodstock and, free love and lots of, drugs and stuff like that. I
Uh,
wasn't there for that. I was a kid, but I'm just saying that the Democrats back then were kind of, granola-y. And I guess they were like, bathing was optional. You only had to take like a bath every 2 months or something
are
like that back in those days.
Are you referring to the
Eh, eh,
'60s? Because
Yeah,
there was a faction of
yeah,
the Democrats were also the warmongers back then. It's funny, the hippies, the leftists, if you will, at the time, who weren't as far left as they are now,
yeah.
they were protesting a war perpetrated by the Democrat Party, if you will, or at
I
least,
know.
joined into by the Democrat Party at that point, and they had to kill somebody just to get in there. They had to
Well,
kill a
this
non
is
yeah.
Yeah, but the Democrats always said, "Oh, we're anti-war. We don't like fighting." And it's kind of like, no, they always liked fighting. I mean, like LBJ liked fighting,
Right.
but they pretended they didn't. So I think the pretense is gone now. The veneer is gone, and so the neocons have gone home to roost. I mean, come on, Stalinists being the Democrats, and the Hillary Clintons and Tim Wallses, Maoist, and the Trotskyites, they've all, it's like one big communist sandwich now. It's like it's like a potpourri of communism. You can get like any brand of communism. It's all in one central place. It's like the Walmart of communism. You're just like, oh, I want some Mao. It's like, oh, I'll go over there. We got some Mao Kitty, General
Oh.
Zhao's Mao Kitty. You can have that.
Well,
So
that's why he never wanted to go to war, the general. You know why? Because
why?
General Tso's chicken.
Yeah, I
All
like
right,
General
that's
Zhao's
terrible.
chicken. I just don't
Yeah.
want Zhao's kitties. That's what I'm saying. So
The kitty cutlets, if you will. I think you have to go to
that's right.
Ohio
No,
or
no, just
Bangor,
say no
Maine for
to.
that now.
That's right. That's right. So,
Oh,
but
boy.
yeah. So anyway, we do have a guest today, don't we? At some point.
Yep,
Not that I'm asking.
at 9:30, Cheryl Chumley is joining us, and, we're gonna
Oh,
talk
good.
with her
Oh,
about,
good.
the main things that are going on. Yeah, I do wanna get her perspective on that 3rd first assassination attempt. See, that's the thing.
Yeah, I want to ask her
They're gonna
about
be
Joe
talking about
Biden's
it as the
speech.
3rd, but this is the 1st.
I
Yeah,
want
there
to
we
ask her
go.
about Joe
I was
Biden's
watching
speech.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another one too because he was, what was he reiterated support for Ukraine. He, one good thing is he at least called attention to the war in Sudan. That's gotta stop too, but, we
It's
we don't
not. It's not going to stop with him in charge. Just saying.
no, none of this is gonna stop. The new war is kinda again, another new war that started in 2023. So, under Biden's watch, if you will, or his world watch, if you will. But, yeah, he was kinda basically, the speech was mostly symbolic, if anything, and he talked about AI, but everybody else did. But the idea is the UN wants to control AI. I understand we have to
Of
treat it
course,
responsibly, but the UN wants control of it.
UN wants control of pretty much everything, and this is one of the things we're going to be hitting on quite a bit for the Patriots to know is the 2030. Is that what they call it? The 2030 project, Chris? Their
Yeah,
their 2030 project,
Agenda 2030, that's what it's
Agenda
called.
2030.
Sometimes they call it the, 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. That's the other one, and we read through some of that Pact for the Future, over the last couple of days here,
Yeah,
and
we
it's
did.
true, and I've been reading more into it, and they mention Agenda 2030 proudly several times throughout the entire document. This is a dangerous, 2nd document here, and we're talking about a time when the World Health Organization wants control over, world pandemic issues. That's another thing that was brought up by Joe Biden, by the way, um, sending vaccines around for mpox. The idea that the world, elite wants to create a huge global health crisis out of monkeypox is utterly ridiculous
Yeah.
at this point because it's not a it's no people aren't dying from it. Yes, people are, this it's painful. It is, by the way, preventable as far as getting monkeypox, but
We all know how people get
treated.
monkeypox. Let me put it this way: nobody on this broadcast or in our Patriot chat are going to get monkeypox. Just saying, it's not going to happen
Not at all.
because you have to have a certain lifestyle and a certain, I don't know, Gavin Newsom attitude about things. Now,
Right.
and by the way, Gavin Newsom's not gay. Just for the record, he's not gay. Just so.
Well, he needs to be for his for political purposes. This way, he can be the first gay president if by some chance he gets elected.
Yeah. So, maybe if they put Haitians in Gavin Newsom's compound, that would be like a sitcom. Could that be a sitcom, Chris? You think?
That would be pretty much about as funny as "Heil, honey, I'm home." Which I actually saw episodes of that. I know it was canceled on the first day due to sensitivities, but I'm going to say it was kind of hilarious because it was a parody of like an "I Love Lucy," but
Yeah.
it was set with Hitler and his wife Eva Braun at the time. Well, she was for intents and purposes his wife during the comedy,
Yeah.
and they would be the Lucy and Desi, if you will. And then you have the wacky next door neighbors. All the comedy tropes were in that, but putting Hitler in that setting.
The Goebbels, yes, the Goebbels.
The Goldbergs or Goldmans, I believe, were living next door. So yes, the best friends were the Jewish neighbors.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was canceled for obvious reasons, but if you give it a
Well,
watch,
I was surprised they got away with Hogan's Heroes for as many years as they did. Hogan's Heroes is pretty funny. I used to like it as a kid. So.
Well, there were protests because
Hogan.
Yeah, but there were protests because Werner Klemperer, the fine actor, was Jewish. The fact is,
and he was anti-Nazi. He actually played several Nazi roles in Trial at Nuremberg with Spencer Tracy. He played a bad guy, but he did it because he wanted people to understand how evil the Nazis were. He's an actor,
he also parodized them. He made them look really foolish, and that was fantastic.
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
And so, the man was a brilliant actor. He did get credit for a lot of the great stuff he did over the years. Yeah, absolutely.
Much like Dr. Smith on Lost in Space.
Jonathan Harris was one of the greatest actors of our time.
He was funny. I've seen some of the pictures of he and Billy Mummy together. It looked like they had a real friendship too.
The grass is growing green on my roots. Oh, fiddle-de-fi, you nickel-plated nincompoop.
You know, if you actually read the history of that show, Jonathan Harris inserted himself because he was supposed to be a throwaway character at the beginning of the show.
Right. He was the special guest star.
Yeah, he was supposed to be like dead, I think, or something written out, but he somehow got himself noticed, which is good. That's how little happy like a happy miracle.
Oh, he was so popular, but he was very evil. In the first season, he was incredibly evil. It was his idea to soften up the character because when the ratings came out, it wound up families were watching the program. So to keep that and to also give them an excuse to not kill Dr. Smith, they kept him around as kind of a bumbling fool who would help him out at times, but also kind of scheme. He was an antagonist, but still was one of the family at that point. They had to kind of do it that way. But they also had to make him a bumbling fool. Remember, he was a colonel. Dr. Smith was a full bird colonel in the first episode.
Yeah, I know. Well, I know a lot of full bird colonels who were about as wacky as he is. Just saying.
But he was fully competent.
I could name them off.
But he was competent at the time. Then they had to he became, instead of a medical doctor, he became a doctor of intergalactic environmental psychology. That was his thing. That was it.
So basically, he's like Tim Walz, in other words.
Yeah, always hanging around children, bumbling around and getting scared when something big happens. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, yeah. And Dr. Smith was like a spy, right? And
now nobody,
kind of like a spy.
None of our patriots are going to unhear that when they watch the Walz-Vance debate coming up on October 1st.
Oh, on the 1st. Yeah, I just put that in the first. So yes, Patriots is on the 1st of October. And I think it's going to be like a Super Bowl halftime. They're going to have like cheerleaders and everything at the halftime. I don't know.
Oh, it's going to be a nice mess.
Well, let's talk about this with Cheryl.
Cheryl,
good morning,
welcome.
Cheryl.
Hi, good morning, guys. How are you?
Welcome to Wake Up Patriots. Good to see you.
Yes.
We have a lot to talk about with you since it's been a while since we spoke, and the political landscape has changed 2 or 3 times, and
and Trump's still alive. That's the big news, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting that he has survived and thrived, and somehow people are on the left upset that he keeps like somehow dodging the bullets. So it's kind of cool. So well, tell us what's going on with you, and then we'll get into questioning. We'll interrogate you very well this morning since we were talking about Hogan's Heroes. We'll do a Hogan's Heroes style interrogation on it.
Oh,
Hogan?
I love Hogan's Heroes. That's
Me
fine.
too.
Yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah, not much. Last time I was on, we talked about my book that just
Yeah.
came out, and I have a nonfiction one coming out in January. So things have been pretty busy on my end.
So tell us about the new book that you're going to have coming out, and Chris, he maybe grab the old book so we can put it up for everybody to see. So
Sure. So the current one is fiction. It's called Chloe. The nonfiction one that's coming out in January is called God Given or Bust: Defeating Marxism and Saving America with Biblical Truths.
wow, we were just talking about Marxism and how the Democrat Party's become the Walmart of communist,
Communist
selection.
neocons. Oh, hey, how about this?
Yeah,
The
the neocons.
neocons. There we go. We call them the
The neocons.
neocons.
That's a
The
good one.
neocomrades.
That's
That's
right.
even better. What do you think? Neocons or neocomrades to our patriot family out there? Which is better?
Yeah, that's not exaggerating that the Democrat Party has been filled with communists and collectivists, right? It
Yeah.
used to be just, you'd have a few nut jobs, but now the whole party has been corrupted by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez type mindsets.
The collective, the Borg, if you will.
Yeah.
Yes.
You heard it. What was it? The NAACP chief actually said during the Democrat National Committee convention, if you will, never. Oh, sorry. It's time to something about the power of the collective. That's it. To celebrate the power of the collective, and it was important. That's an important little phrase that was lost in the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I want to go through that a little bit, Cheryl, with you because part of I think and by the way, have you seen the new Kamala Harris? What do you call it? Her election campaign sign that has her looking like Stalin with the side face looking off in the distance. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't.
Oh, I have.
Oh, it's around town here. I wish I should take a stamp of it.
Yeah.
We have our county fair. We live in. There it is.
That's the one. And it's
That's it.
by the way, this is a Leninist, Stalinist slogan too. Forward.
Yeah.
The Democrats have been using that since Obama.
So
Didn't
if
Obama
your
have a
opponents are
couple-
calling you communist, maybe you shouldn't actually use their use the imagery. It's like,
But maybe that's the Democrats like to call Republicans or call out Republicans for what they call using dog whistles. Well, let me again, this is projection. This is what they're doing. They're actually saying they're trying to say we're not communists, but using communist imagery so their leftist partners, their leftist base will say, all right, we get you. We understand. We know what you're doing. Just make sure nobody else figures it out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Cheryl. What do you think?
Well, I think Barack Obama had some sort of image that came out that was similar to that, right? And then, of course, we had Joe Biden giving that famous speech with the backdrop of blood red and the Marines standing there at attention and so forth, just looking all the more like a dictator. So the party has definitely moved left.
I think you're being kind, and I know you have to be a little kind to the
am
way
being kind.
They're
nuts.
So,
They're nut jobs. How about that?
well, Ocasio-Cortez, Hillary Clinton, Kamala. I mean, man, oh man, it's just like it's like a box of Fruit Loops that are like with
Fruit Loops,
little
is that
razor
intended
blades
there?
in
Yeah. Speaking of Fruit Loops, maybe Ted Walls can be can help you out a little bit here.
What is
So,
up?
well, let's talk.
with-
Well, let's start with I want to circle back to Tim Walz. And by the way, Chris, do you have that Harry Balls thing that someone sent me?
I, by the way, do, and we're going to pull that
So
one up.
anyway, Cheryl, I don't know about you, and I don't want to get you in trouble because I know you work for a real publication, and
Yeah,
we're
you
just
do.
trying to get fired. We're trying to get Ed Henry to fire us. Anyway, that's our objective. Anyway, yesterday I commented on air that every time I see a Harris Walls placard, I always think Harry Balls. I don't know why that is, and there it is, the Harry Balls 2024. So someone came up with that on my Twitter.
Kind of rolls off the tongue, I guess.
It does. I think it does. Look at that, man.
Look at the rogues gallery on the bottom, by the
Rogues
way.
gallery.
Okay, These are these people the people you would trust to tell you, "Hey, this is my president."
Oh, well, Taylor Swift, of
Let
course.
let's go with them.
Yeah,
Let's go
You
with
know,
them,
her
the
her
IRS
endorsement.
union and the Iranians, and of course,
I
Vladimir
knew. Yeah,
Putin.
have you heard about Taylor's new song? I knew you were trouble when you cooked my kitten. That's a great song, though.
No.
There's a meme going around about, Taylor Swift and her choices of politicians, and the song's about her choices of men, so think about it that way.
Yeah. It's
All right, we got to get serious because that's our job, and we.
All right, let's
But
put our serious
Cheryl,
faces on.
I got no.
We're
Let's start
serious
with
now.
let's start with Joseph R. Biden because this we're supposed to be talking about politics. It's what we're going to do. Damn it, Chris, quit distracting me. You always do that. Anyway, so let's start with Joe Biden. Lunch bucket, upchuck Joe, whatever you want to call him, crooked Joe, and his speech at the UN yesterday. It's like how does one go, Cheryl, and face the world literally, and have to go through and basically show that you have completely failed. As a matter of fact, the Washington Post, I mean the New York Post today has essentially a cover that illustrates how bad they've done. So how does one do that? What do you think was in Joe Biden's mind? 'Cause that's a tough question. I'd like you to take a shot at it.
Yeah, is there anything left in his mind? Because it
I don't know.
seems to me that, to drag him off the beaches of Delaware, right, to bring him for this speech, it's kind of his final moment in the White House. I think this is about the last we're going to see of Joe Biden. And, you know, I don't know what to say about Joe Biden that hasn't already been said. And I think you've been saying it for as long as I've been saying it, Tony, that it just, and Chris, that this is a president that never should have been president. We
Yeah.
had the clues when he was campaigning from his basement next to his wife, Jill, and she had to keep prodding him to keep him awake to field the fawning questions from the media. And
Yeah.
since then, that was his high mark, right? Since then it's been all downhill, and the nefarious players around the world with hostile intent against America and Israel and our allies have just taken full advantage. And all I can say is, warning Will Robinson, warning, because Kamala Harris will be Joe Biden on steroids, and Joe Biden was Barack Obama on steroids. So we won't have a country if Kamala Harris wins in November.
Oh, I agree. And for the record, I published editorials in your publication warning about the Joe Biden not
Yeah.
being able to govern, and I think we've seen it.
Yeah.
Now, but the question then becomes, Kamala Harris brags about being the last person in the room for decisions like Afghanistan. She seems to not have any regrets. So notably, I think she's endorsed his failure, and I think it's pretty clear that she would continue it, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. No regrets over Afghanistan. I mean,
Yeah.
look what's going. Just take the women alone over there, right? Democrats are supposed to be the party that supports women, and Republicans
Yeah.
are supposed to be the party that wants to keep women barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, right?
Oh.
That's the line, right? The Democrats and the left like to sell. But look at what's happening to the women over there in Afghanistan, for crying out loud, and to proclaim on a public stage loudly and proudly that Afghanistan is a success. It's delusion of a new level. And honestly, the Democrat Party has no shame, in large part because the media do the covering for them.
So I want to cover that real quick because one of the notable things last night, I told the Patriots, and I tweeted it last night, is that I was on with Dr. Drew. Dr. Drew is not a traditional conservative. He's like many other folks who I think were a liberal. I think he admits that. Tulsi Gabbard was a liberal, but these folks actually had heartfelt and deep, deep-seated beliefs about wanting to help women, to support the right of women, to seek to avoid conflict, to do things to uplift humanity. And I think a lot of folks have become very disillusioned by the fact that it's all just a thin veneer of propaganda. And so, do you see in the current trends, because of the obvious incompetence of the Biden administration and the obvious disdain for actually women's issues, do you think we're going to continue to see people like Dr. Drew and Tulsi Gabbard kind of leave? I said it last night, and I got away with it. Leave the Democrat plantation. So.
I I do. It's just it won't be as widely reported in the media as, say, the leftists in Hollywood who refuse to see the truth about the Democrat Party coming out and
Yeah.
campaigning for, their candidates in the party. But, there are still some thinking types left in the Democrat Party, and I think they are taking a look at the lay of the land, and they're seeing not just the economy, but the LGBTQ madness that is really stealing women's rights and taking away what it means to be a female in this country. And they're starting to awaken to the idea the Democrat Party has just been corrupted by Marxists.
So yeah, so I want to ask you that question. When I saw that the infomercial by what's her name, the Cadillac woman, Oprah,
Oh,
Oprah, yeah, Oprah, when she did that
they're all hoping I'm
infomercial
gonna
for
call her.
Kamala, boy, who doesn't identify with Bryan Cranston living in his, multi-million dollar home, or Meryl Streep? I just felt the love there, knowing that somehow she connects with me, since she's got these five different sports cars to pick from, an 8,000 foot square home overlooking the ocean. Man, I just identify with that. They're like me. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yep. Yep.
this,
Going from the stage to go clean their toilets, and then
I know it's like,
go budget to buy their bread and eggs and everything, just like you and me, average Jane and Joe. So
yeah,
it-
was that tone deaf or what? I mean, it's like, I thought it was pretty tone deaf. What do you think?
but yeah, tone deaf, it definitely. That's putting it lightly. But look, the Democrat Party is just filled with elites now, and it's not just that example you give. They're total elitists and hypocrites when it comes to, say, the Second Amendment. Right? They don't want anyone in America to have constitutional access for lawful carry, and yet they say that from their well-protected, armed, guarded, gated communities and offices in politics that are surrounded by police officers and security guards who carry. So, this is the party. This is the Democrat Party of modern day.
Well, I think that's the interesting thing, is that they've become so elitist, and yet they somehow want to represent the little guy. Now, I live in rural, and by the way, I think I'm running for office. Here's my little Schaefer for county commissioner.
All right. Yes. Very good.
Yeah, yeah. I got to be at the county fair later today at our booth. And I'm running. I'm going to go out. As a matter of fact, I'm meeting with the Trump folks. We're going to do a joint canvassing. The Trump campaign and I are going to do a joint canvassing of the district on the 5th of October. So I'm going to meet with the local Trump folks. I guess that means I'm a Republican, right? I guess that's true. Anyway, let's not go down there. But yeah, I don't have Hollywood actors. Although I could probably, Chris, I'd probably get a couple of our Hollywood friends to endorse me if I really wanted it. But they're good, down to earth folks that actually do work.
I think you could. Hey, maybe you can get Danica Patrick to do so. Did you hear about what happened with her?
No, tell us.
Okay, Danica Patrick has, as you know, she endorsed Donald Trump, the famous race car driver, and I guess liberals
I just
are
followed
very
her on
upset.
Twitter, on X.
Yep. Liberals are upset because she's a woman and is not allowed to do such things, and she's a celebrity, not allowed to do such things. So she says to lefties who can't handle the fact that she's endorsing Trump, "You can leave if you want." So maybe she can say, "I endorse Tony Schaefer. You can leave if you want."
Just don't let the door hit you on the way out, right?
There we go.
Okay. Well,
See what the
so, all
magic
right,
8
so
ball
Cheryl,
says.
well, I think it's great. I think we should all just be happy that we have good people on our side. But I have a question about that, because right now here in North Carolina, where I'm at, the Democrats are all upset about Mark Robinson. Now, I'm going to bring up Mark. I'm not. I was asked to comment on it a little bit yesterday, and I don't know. I know what they're doing, but apparently, Cheryl, according to who was it over there? Breaking Point, the folks at Breaking Point, Sarga and Crystal Ball, they said that the information regarding what was the website? Hot Africa, Africa something, Naked Africa. I don't know what it was. Supposedly, the allegation is, which has not been confirmed by a second source, just CNN, which says a lot, that somehow the lieutenant governor posted stuff. And so I said last night on Dr. Drew's show, it's like, well, I'm using the Bill Clinton scale of debauchery to judge him by. It's like, 10 being, Paula Jones level wrongdoing, a one being, Carlos Danger, uh, registering his email. So I consider this like not even a one because it's if it's true, someone posted it. And if it's not true, they're going to sue CNN and probably go after him. So what do you make of the Mark Robinson allegation, if anything?
It's not really it's not really that big a deal to me, to be honest.
Me too. It's like
It's kind of a nothing burger.
it's a huge deal. If you go on YouTube and Google that, like they got 5 different MSNBC and Roland Martin, the guy that had gay porn on one of his videos accidentally. That's a hint. Maybe I think he was a Puff Daddy acolyte, right?
Puffy.
Who's it? Puff Dad. I always get the name wrong. Anyway,
It's the
but
same
my point
name.
being-
It all counts.
yeah. So I know most people just don't seem to be care. It's like, yeah, whatever. So, but the left, it's a bigger deal to the left than it is to us. And I think it's a bigger because they're using it for campaign ads to try to lower the turnout on our side or lower the bleeding. So I don't know. What do you think, Cheryl? Is that an effective tactic?
I don't know if if it's effective for that reason. It is probably effective of distracting some in the electorate of Kamala Harris's failing campaign, right? Because we have one of the most important presidential elections coming up in just a little over a month. And so you toss in something sordid like this and it distracts people from talking about how horrible Kamala Harris is. So in that respect, maybe that's why many in the media are picking up on it.
Well, I know it. Yeah. Well, I don't want to pick up on her. I'm just saying.
Breakfast alert, right? Yes.
Yeah. Well, but that's the issue at this point because turnout. Now, my friend Sean Parnell has said that he believes this election is going to be based on the base turnout. That whoever gets the biggest, most well-motivated base to turn out is going to win. Do you agree with Sean's assessment on that?
I'm not as schooled on like the nitty bitty, data and numbers and all that as some analysts are in politics. I just look at sort of the lay of the land. And what I think the election is going to be based on primarily is the economy. And I think that young people, especially, are going to be leaving the Democrats and giving Donald Trump their votes, because I've heard not just to combine with the polls that show that many of the Democrats' traditional voting blocks are leaving, abandoning the party, the blacks, the Hispanics, and youth. I've also heard anecdotally many younger people are just so fed up of seeing firsthand what the Joe Biden and Democrat Party economy brings. They can't afford to buy homes. They can't afford to buy food. They can't afford so many things that just in their own memories 4 years ago that they were easily able to afford. So I do think the economy is really going to be the influencing factor here.
So do you think that the media is going to hold Kamala accountable or challenge her? Because at the Oprah thing, she had the young couple. They said we're young homeowners. We just bought a house. We're having a hard time, making ends meet. And Kamala's answer was, "Oh, I'm going to help reduce inflation by reducing inflation." It's like, and then instead of answering the question, she says, "Oh, I'm going to make it easier for people to buy new houses." Like, but you didn't answer their question about the fact they bought a house, they're having a hard time. So it's like, do you think anybody's going to say, "Hey, Madam Vice President, you're spouting like stupid stuff. Can you answer the question?" Because she gets the question over and over, but she keeps answering it with like, "Well, my mother was a middle class woman, and I lived in an apartment." So
Yeah, I think people notice that. How can you not? Because it's not just one slip up like that. It's not just something that you can excuse. Oh, Kamala's been hitting the campaign trail hard. She's probably tired. She just spouted something that was on her mind and didn't answer the question. But this is consistent Kamala, right? She constantly just fuddles up questions when it's simple and straightforward. Tell me what you're going to do about the economy. Oh, I was born a poor black child, right? It comes
I
to
know
no
Steve Martin. You know, well, I was a,
sure.
I love that. Yeah,
I
for
know,
sure.
but that's
I always think
common.
about that when she says it. It's like, yeah, I agree with that.
She's a clown when it comes to answering questions honestly and just bluntly. So I think people notice that, and I don't think they're going to let her get away with it.
Well, but the other thing I want to throw at you here is the fact that she, during the debate with Trump, lied about Goldman Sachs and Wharton School, saying, "Oh, they have said his plan." Well, it's the opposite, and I have only seen a few folks on our side call it out. It's like, no, she lied, and it seems like the left never will say, "Well, she really wasn't truthful about this." Do you think we'll be able to get that out too by the fact that she just flat out lied about the economic? Her plan is the one that's going to cause the problems. How did she get away with that?
So you give rise to what I think the real root of the problem here in America right now. The Democrat Party turning Marxist is one very big problem, glaring problem. But the bigger problem is the media, because the Democrat Party couldn't get by with this Marxism and open embrace of lies and divisive politicking, race cards, gender cards, and so forth, if
Yeah.
the media did its job. So the bigger problem, if you want to fix the Democrat Party and fix the political system in America and bring America back to a more constitutional grounding, the media is the place that we all need to hit hard and just start outing these specific players in the media who are driving this sort of collectivist anti-America type agenda.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Jake Tapper. You probably know Jake. I don't know if you know him personally. I don't. I've met him. No, I have met him once. Anyway, Jake Tapper had former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi on his show, and apparently he had the the audacity to ask Nancy Pelosi about Donald Trump saying that Kamala Harris is less mentally fit than Joe Biden. And Speaker Pelosi went nuts. How can you talk about that? Oh, I mean, why is it that Trump says something? Jake Tapper, whatever his name is, asked the question. She says, "How can you ask that? What is up with Nancy? I mean, is this like, don't bother? Don't we control the message to the point of where I don't ask me about specific quotes of the former president? I mean, what is that?"
Yeah, because for years now, the carefully crafted facade of the Democrat Party crumbled under Donald Trump, right? The Democrat Party has been very slowly moving lefter, right? But it was really under Donald Trump where it was the deep state and all our so-called unbiased agencies like the intel agencies were outed as being doing the dirty work of the more collectivist type in the Democrat Party. And so the facade has crumbled, and now Nancy Pelosi, along with many other in the Democrat Party, are desperate and in panic to shut down the open discussion about things that, thankfully, because of Donald Trump, we all know. We may have suspected before, but now we know because Donald Trump actually put names and faces to this deep state type of politicking.
Well, let's talk about that because my friend Jimmy Clapper, I don't know if you heard on Newsmax, I actually said he makes chimpanzees look smart, because he does. And he does. No, I know Jim. I've got a letter that he signed promoting me to a GS12 from GS11. So I don't know what that says about me being a monkey as well, I guess. But
Well,
there he
maybe an
is.
orangutan. You could be an orangutan.
Maybe
but
an
fly,
orangutan. That's
but,
right. It's like Planet of the
every which
Apes.
way but loose. Yeah.
Boy, he looks like the Vincent Price egg guy on Batman too, doesn't he?
Or he looks like it looks like Tim. It would look like Walls if he shaved his head.
Yeah.
There
Well,
we go.
they are both Marxists, that's for sure. But but Cheryl, my question to you is: this guy, this knucklehead, this chimpanzee of a man, and 7 others signed the bureaucrats for Kamala letter, the 700 people of connective tissue who served some role as a functionary in some administration somewhere in the past. Do you think that those 700 people plus the 7 of the 51 intelligence officers who said that the Hunter Biden hard drive was Russian propaganda, do you think that's where he is in his earlier days before he still had hair?
It's Lancelot.
Jim Clapper, the early days. Oh, we're having too much fun. Anyway, but so my question, my serious question is: do you think that's those 700 people, to include Jim Clapper, the chimpanzee whisperer? There he is giving orders at
See,
CIA.
that's Baron von Chimp. He shouldn't be Lancelot Link. If he's like, if he did what he did to
Yeah.
Trump, he's now Baron von Chimp. There we go.
Yeah, I could tell you stories about me briefing Jim Clapper. Oh man, I can't today. And plus, a couple of them are top secret still too. So anyway, he's no Puff Daddy. Just saying that Jim Clapper's not. Anyway, he didn't have all that lube, at least back in the day. He didn't. Anyway, do you think he?
Heyo.
Girl, I'm going to get you in so much trouble with your paper. I swear to God. Anyway, do you think that the 700 officers, connective tissue, plus the 7 were included, do you think it's going to have any impact on the election at all?
No.
I think so.
Do you remember when I think it was a National Review back when Donald Trump was first running, 2015, 2016, they went out and they collected all those serious conservative scholarly pundits.
Oh, I know.
Got them to write letters, saying Trump's unfit. What good did that do? No, I don't. The 700 Club can, they can take their endorsement for Kamala Harris, and you know what? I don't think the American people care.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what I thought too, because it's kind of like, I saw that. It's like, yeah. And I know, like, I know several of the folks. I know Martha Duncan. He was part of the Senator McCain mafia that wanted, didn't see a country that didn't want to invade. Well, I guess that's okay if you're, if you want to do that. I don't think it's a good idea. Well, but she was part of that crowd that the McCain crowd that kind of crept over and joined Biden, and then they're now kind of continuing in that vein. And it seems to me, I don't think we've lost anything by the neocons leaving the party. What do you think?
Oh, no, definitely not. And you give rise to a thought. I really think that Donald Trump's campaign could do an even better job of pointing out about the difference between the Democrat Party of today and his own term in the White House, and who had more wars, who had more military occupations. And, the Democrats have long tried to slander the Republicans as warmongers, but really, the Democrats are the ones of endless wars, endless tax dollars flowing into endless wars.
Let me throw this into both of you here. If you think about this, Trump's presence in the Republican Party scaring off the neocons actually would be a gain for him and the Republicans in the future, because the neocons are what both parties were against. If you remember, let's go back to Perot, 1992. The neocons were the people that the Perot voters voted against. Let's be honest there. There were thoughts of putting Howard Kane up as the president of the United States by the Republican side. The idea was bringing in somebody like Robert F. Kennedy. People were thinking, hey, Kennedy would be a good guy. The idea is the neocons have left. The Republicans are the Trump Republicans, the people who were never voting for anybody. They stayed home. They didn't bother with anything because they didn't like either party. They're now active. They want the Republicans to work towards to help out the small businessman and the working class, or for their policies to benefit them. And that's what's happening right now. So the Democrats have become the party of no longer the party of the working person, the party of the non-working person they are, and the party of the neocons. That is an overall net gain for the Trump Republicans.
I think that's a pretty good assessment, and I agree with that. And as the Democrat Party takes on more and more neocons and more voters who don't want to work, that just abolishes the middle class, right? So they become more and more the party of the elites.
Well, the party of the elites and the party of the beta men. Have you seen the white guys for Kamala? I mean, it's like, okay.
Oh my God! Yeah, Ted Walls was the toughest out of all of them. So that should tell you something. Yeah, I'm the anti-Tommy Tuberville. That's what he said. That's what he said in that video.
So, well,
Oh,
we
my
got to go. I got to wrap it up here, but I just want to, before we go, I just want to touch on the white guys. First up, isn't that racist? White guys for Kamala. It's like, that's kind of like racist. It's like,
Sexist. Can you
yeah,
call them
sexist
guys?
too. Yeah.
LGBTQ, right? I don't know what to call them.
Well,
Well,
it would
the white
be
chicks?
truth and advertising would be the marginally white and male guys for Kamala, because I don't know how male they are. Just there's not a lot of testosterone in that group. Just saying.
No.
They're still not as bad as Mrs. Frazzled and the white chicks for Kamala Harris. That was absolutely a disaster with that the kindergarten teacher that was telling people that to put their listening ears on and never correct the BIPOC. Oh my God forbid, never correct the BIPOC. That's what she said. That no matter how, what do the kids say these days? Keen or unkeen or cringe or something like that. No matter how, whatever the bad connotation is that the white dudes for Kamala had, the white chicks for Kamala was so much worse. Oh,
Like, the white chicks are more masculine than the white guys, I think.
that
Well,
unfortunately,
let me hit that real quick, so to speak. Not that I'm going to hit white chicks. Just saying. No, I know I've surrounded myself all my life with strong women, and I love strong women. I mean, I'm dating one. She's a Navy lieutenant commander nurse. Love her big. She's wonderful. Cherie Curry is a great friend. I've known female operatives, Cheryl, in the DC area who, no, those aren't the female operatives, but
those are
think,
your masculine males in the Democrat Party.
Isn't that the son of that Roth guy on the right there, the kitty porn guy? Because they look the same. The guy, if you look on the internet.
Yeah.
I have a question for you two after you're done with your thoughts. I just thought.
Well,
about
I'm just
that.
finishing. I just want to make it clear. My deputy at DIA was a female black officer who got promoted to full colonel, went on to NSA. I don't want to out her because, I mean, Teresa, you know who you are. And I've always prided myself on the fact that I don't care if you're competent, if you're if you're good looking and you're hot, oh, what's even better. But the fact is, strong women should be recognized as strong women, as leaders. Right. And the whole idea that you have to promote them based on skin and make performance irrelevant is dangerous, because that's what they do. Is that they're women and beta guys, which I guess are the same, right, Chris? I mean, they're just kind of the same.
So, beta guy. Speaking of beta guys, think about who George Soros is handing the baton to, his son. Have you seen this
another
guy?
beta guy?
Well, think about this. Doesn't he remind you a lot of Pat from Saturday Night Live?
Well, Pat all grown up. Pat who lost 30 pounds and put a suit on. So,
there we go. Pat with a little little unshaven thing there, but
yeah, I don't think that's a real. I don't think it's a real goatee. I think he has to paint that on. Just saying.
Well,
not there's anything wrong with painting on a goatee. You do it, that's okay. What do I care? You know.
Right, there we go. But it's Pat.
So, all right. So I got I'll get to Paul in a second. But anyway, Cheryl, put up Cheryl's book one last time before we go. Cheryl, it's been great having you. I always enjoy our conversation. I hope you'll come back despite. I hope we didn't get you in too much trouble today. So you know.
Oh no, I love chatting with both.
We'll try harder next time.
Yeah, we'll try harder next time.
Yeah,
we'll see if our evil overlord Ed will fire us someday. We keep trying. He hasn't done it yet. So anyway, Cheryl Chumley, Chloe, check it out. Is it on Amazon? I think it's on Amazon, right?
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Everywhere.
Yep, check it out. Be sure, and then we'll definitely have you come back and talk about your new book too, because that's going to be exciting, especially since it's going to be nonfiction.
Thank you.
And that topic is something we're going to be talking a lot about, just how the demographics and everything roll out as we go to the 5th of November. Oh, one last thing. So a quick question: what do you think is going to come out of the 1st of October debate between Tinkerbell Tim and Senator? Well, he does. Have you noticed he's got that Tinkerbell? He watched Peter Pan and he said, "Tinkerbell, I want to be like that."
So odd. It's so off-putting. I can't wait. I can't wait for this debate more than the Trump Kamala Harris one that we just saw. This one's going to be great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Good. Mm-hmm. Well, Cheryl, thanks for being here today. We appreciate you. The folks and the Patriots love you, and we'll see you again soon.
All right.
So,
God bless.
Thank you, Cheryl.
God bless. Let me get to my other job here, which is reading things. You know, I do pretend I can read, and I think I can get by today. So we are here because of the good graces of Paul Stone. Paul Stone at Colonial Metals is the guy you must turn to for economic security and investment in your family's future. So check them out. Check us out. colonialmetalsgroup.com/ed-henry. Check it out. Go to the website, colonialmetalsgroup.com, ed/ed-henry. There he is, the overlord himself. And then call him at 800-805-4034 if you want to use a phone, which you can. Both, internet's good, phone is good. It's whatever's best for you. Check and talk to Paul and his team. You will be happy to learn about your options to get gold and silver, things that you should have in your portfolio. I have those things just in case. You can never go wrong by having physical gold and silver. It's something that has been around since literally the dawn of civilization. And if it was good enough for the Romans and good enough for the Egyptians, it's good enough for us, right, Chris?
I'll tell you what, it's good enough for not only all of us, but think about this. And if you have silver in your hand, and again, buying silver coins, or having some, or at least some silver in your hand, you can actually trade that. If something kind of goes wrong, let's say we get a little problem with the grid, since the Democrats are trying to overflow it and opening us to attacks against the grid.
That's right.
But
gold and silver will. That's right. Gold and silver is like garlic to vampires, right? It's gold and silver to Gavin Newsom is like garlic to vampires, right?
Well, unless it's a pretty gold bracelet, but that's a different story for a different day. But yeah,
well, you just remember Gavin Newsom's not gay. Just saying.
Right. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It's politically gay.
Politically gay.
but think
about it. That's good. I'll have to figure out how to apply that to my concepts later today on air. So, okay. Well, we're wrapping it up, folks. Patriots all, we appreciate you being here. It's been another great show. Thanks for sticking around. We're done this week. Man, it's been another fast week.
That's right. It is very fast. Catch Tony on The Hard Truth this weekend. Sherry Curry, me, Elizabeth, and Tony will be talking about Agenda 2023, the pact for the UN's pact for the future. And boy, they have a lot of things packed in there.
Man, oh man, it's going to be more packed than a P. Diddy party with a lot of lube. That's right. That's right. Man, oh man, that's a lot of packing. Just saying. Apparently, I never attended one, so I don't know. It's like I have to go with what the DOJ's put out.
Did you learn about it when you met Brian Stelter?
Oh, Brian, old Taterhead. I have a feeling that he was like the Ned Beatty character in Deliverance at those parties. Just saying. So
Oh well, I thought he was more like Sergeant Schultz. He knows nothing, he sees nothing, but he'll say anything.
No, he's more like Ned Beatty. Just saying. And he looks more like Ned Beatty too. And Ned Beatty's a great actor. Don't take that the wrong way. Anyway, we gotta go. Thanks, Patriots. We'll see you, I guess, Monday, right, Chris? We're done. We're done.
Monday it is. You have Trixie and Deborah Lynn on Friday.
There you go. You can check them out, and they always have a good time. I see a lot of people showing up. And check us out Monday. We'll be back Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week.
Hey,
we got folks lined up for next week, right? We do.
We have some good things lined up. A little bit of there'll be a little change up next week. We have a couple of interesting things happening. Yes.
Good. All right. Well, good to go. Thanks, folks. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.